Okay, we're here and we're ready for part 2, and we're going to be talking to the cutter about the SNP, and then we're going to be talking about culture as far as the general election is concerned, and we're going to go straight into it. And the Gazelle, what are you going to do about that ladder in the background? Because when we go talking hence, kiddo, is it going to stay in?
Coming with me. When we go on the road, my dressing gown and my ladders will be my props.
You can have slippers as well.
Slippers, my dressing gown, and my set of ladders will be coming up with us on tour. Because if we're doing the tour, they're all going. The first question that's going to be asked is, Gazelle, where's your ladders?
Oh, yes, it could be the case. And there are no more episodes of Warrenation Street. No.
I'll revamp that, actually. I'll revamp that soon. We'll get going, because we've got a new leader down there. As everybody knows, he's known as the Happy Mundries, Mr. Mundry. And his wife, she's a councillor. So they're now known as the Happy Mundries. So we've got a new cast. So I will be revamping that soon. And the first mistake he makes is tell me why we don't like Mundries. That's another one. That's Mr. and Mrs. Mundry.
Well, let's go to our Scottish correspondent, who is ultra happy because the SNP have been decimated by 3.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
That was your cue there, Cutter. Go ahead.
I missed that cue, Jonathan, you know what I mean? But I'll be saying to all my Saltar flying, Line Rampart flying, yes flying, flag people, get it right up you. And independence is dead, absolutely dead. And God, the unions are much better placed for it. I think Mr. Swinney and his brigade now need to call a Scottish election so we can get them out of Scottish Parliament as well. And that'll be absolutely job done. I'll be there.
Do you think that they actually have got the message now?
No, because Mr. Swinney got interviewed on the Scottish News the other day there, and he says his comment was, I think we must just how we put independence across. We're going to have to rethink how we're going to resell independence to the Scottish people and like that. Is he daft? Honestly, is he daft? So they've no got to Jonathan that they didn't realise that the massive swing towards Labour was a protest vote against independence. Yeah. And I'm afraid I'm going to use this speech. The people of Scotland have spoken, Mr. Swinney, and we don't want independence. We don't want the SNP. Your day is over. So let's move on and get someone else in. Now, as you all know, I am a lifelong Tory voter, and it broke my heart, and I actually voted Labour.
It's the only way you could have done it. It's the only way that the voters in Scotland could have got rid of the SNP, by voting Labour.
Yeah, kick him off, John.
If the SNP wasn't in power up here, I would have definitely voted Reform. I wasn't voting Tory again because I think they're just a shambles, so I would have voted Reform. But I'm sorry, guys. I've been over the red side. I'm not a lefty, but I've been over to the red side.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, it's the only way that it could have happened. Stats, what's your feeling on the demise of the SNP?
It's beautiful, isn't it? But they did all the work themselves, a bit like the fake Conservatives down here.
God.
It was just very easy. Hopefully Labour will follow suit and do the same, and not quicker than 5 years, to be honest. But
Nicola Sturgeon, Peter Murrell, the boy with his iPad and holiday, I can't remember his name. They just all blur into one. They're corrupt.
Yeah,
that's definitely what finished them off, isn't it, Graham? Because I mean, we've had you on a few times discussing all their shenanigans, and Scottish people have just said, no, we're done with this now.
You know, it wasn't so much that they mess up everything. I mean, they messed up the ferries. I mean, millions of pounds over budget on these 2 ferries that are sitting in Greenock. Millions of pounds in the Ab Fab. Millions of pounds on the deposit return scheme, which a waste management company is taking the court for at the moment, and hopefully they'll win. Do you know what I mean?
They will.
It wasn't to do anything like that, although people like myself did recognise that it was the corruption and the inability and the constant having the sword of Damocles at independence hanging over your head. That was it. It's done it for the Scottish people. And as I say, bring on the Scottish election so we can really get them out. But they're now saying they've got 2 years to sort of trying to sell independence. And that's the thing, they're not concentrating on what they really should be. They step back and say, right, we're going to get the NHS sorted, we're going to get this sorted, we're going to get the next thing sorted. The powers they have got, the evolved powers they've got in Hollywood, get these things sorted and then try and sell independence to people, because they're just not going about it the right way.
How are they going to do it? Because Labour are going to take control of the Parliament. So anything that the Scottish do, SNP or any of them are down there, the Labour grouping is going to follow suit with what Labour's doing at Westminster.
Yeah. I did see Swinney on the telly today, and he was meeting with Keir Starmer. I think it was today or either yesterday. I saw a picture of them together. Now, I just wondered during that conversation if he asked Keir Starmer for the right to hold another independence referendum. And I bet you he did. Honestly, I bet you he did. But
my feeling is that now, probably under Labour, you're going to see more money pumped into certain areas. I think that's going to happen because Scotland have got some serious problems, as you've spoken about in the past, especially with the drugs. You know, the drugs problems in Glasgow.
Yeah.
And
it's atrocious, Jonathan. It's getting worse.
Yeah.
So what, Labour are going to start supplying drugs to Scotland? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think they need any more, do they?
That's not. Can you say, look what you're doing to this man? You're depressing him. No, what I'm saying is that there will be some common sense applied to that, because Rishi Sunak just completely and utterly ignored Scotland.
Yeah,
he ignored them, and that's wrong. That's wrong from a point of view, because Scotland are part of the Union. Which I will make a comment. I noticed that when Keir Starmer came out to enter number 10, there was a UK flag, there was the saltire, there was the Welsh flag, but I didn't see the English flag.
No, you won't.
And I had a go at our MP about that.
Do you know what I always find funny? They were interviewing Keir Starmer, and he was yammering on, and he was saying about how the Welsh Parliament, the Northern Irish Parliament, and the Scottish Parliament, and all the rest of it, and they never talk about England as a separate nation.
Correct.
If you know what I mean. I just find that a bit bizarre that Scotland, Wales, and Ireland, or Northern Ireland, sorry, have all got a separate voice, but England doesn't. Do you know what I mean? And I think England should have a separate voice.
Yep. And
equal things up. I mean, they're all talking about equaling things up, so surely England should have its own devolved sort of parliament.
It's very kind of you to say, and that's coming from a true Scotsman.
That's coming from a true unionist, Jonathan, you know what I mean?
Yes, okay, but you're also a Scotsman, and that's nice, and you are a unionist, and we recognise that. We're all unionists here. We want to stay together, you know, because we think that you guys in kilts are very attractive.
Well, I won't get rid of Welsh, but that's another story. I can't go into that tonight.
Just you remember where you're coming in October, Jonathan, and say that statement when you come up.
I know they're going to say something. Right, let's move on to culture then. Thank you very much for that. About the SNP, Graham. Culture. Mark. Oh, Mark, come on. You've got some things to say about this. Go on.
Hang on. Before we do, can we gloat a little bit first? We spent years wanting to get rid of these fake cons. Who was your favourite? Well, should we have a little pick? Who was your favourite one, John, to get the boot?
I was hoping it was going to be Oliver Dowden.
I know, yeah.
My fave to get rid of was Penny Mordaunt.
Oh, what about you, Gazelle?
Yeah, I was thinking the slow hand clap brigade with, oh, Christ, the Prime Minister for about 7 days.
Liz Truss.
Sorry, Liz Truss. I've just got a blank. When I try and remember,
brain freeze.
And what happened was she wouldn't appear on stage, and was all given a slow hand clap to get her back on stage to announce it. Yeah. So that was good for me. I mean, actually, there was 5 Patello moments, which was really good. Yeah. You know, Rees-Mogg, Morden. The biggest one I'd say was Grant Shapps.
Snaps. Do you know what? I watched him giving his losing speech. And he's standing there going on about how good he was and what he'd done.
I know, yeah.
And I'm thinking, mate, bye-bye, off your pop. You've literally just lost. But let's say how good I was. Some of them are still in denial. Graham, have you got a favourite?
Oh, Sleaze personified himself, Rees-Mogg. I know Trevor just said him, but it's got to be Rees-Mogg. Even Sleaze his way out his his speeches as he was walking off the stage, it was just sleaze.
The thing is, though, Graham, he's really upset, isn't he? Because he's the highest earner on GB News, £482,000 he got last year for like a 12-hour week.
I know. But
see the thing about £480,000, nearly $500,000. That dwarfs his MP's wages.
But the thing is, sleaze like Rees-Mogg, he'll walk into a directorship at a major company or a major bank or a major finance company. No problem. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So losing an MP's job to him is absolutely nothing.
No, exactly.
There was a few I enjoyed, obviously. I would have thought you might have said Andy Carter. Trev.
No, I was actually there on the night and he wasn't very happy.
I can imagine. But Steve...
I had my interview there with Gary Scandalberry from Wellington Worldwide. And Gary said to me, "Did you see that, Mark, what I put up on the finger right at the end of Charlotte Nicholls?" And Gary said to me, "You know what? You must be the happiest second-place person I've ever met in my life." I said, "I am, Gary. I'm just glad it's all over, mate."
I was like that too, man. I was like, yes, in the hall. And no one's ever seen that before. No, I don't know. I liked Liam Fox. Liam Fox was a good one. Gillian Keegan, because she did absolutely nothing in education to prevent the gender identity. But the one I was a little bit sad was Michael Fabricant, because now he's just got to be a podcast host and he hasn't got his 80 grand a year.
I didn't see that.
Wiggy.
I missed that one.
Wiggy.
Yeah, he looks the spit of you, mate.
Yeah, Wiggy.
I'm just gutted you've lost your 80 grand a year now.
I know, yeah, but I didn't see that one because obviously I was, being embroiled in all the counting on the night. It was, I kept missing little bits. And I must say, a big shout down to Warrington Borough Council again. One TV on the night with BBC selling it. What the hell's that about?
Hey, we went.
Very bad.
We went. I was with ITV, BBC, and Sky at the elections. Yeah. And I can tell you now, I had some fun. I was sat right next to the guy from ITV. And I said to him, I recognize you. And he said, do you? And I went, no, not really. I was kidding.
I did the Radio Manchester interview. He came up. He said, Trevor, have you got a minute? Can I interview you? I said, no, not really. You're bad. Sorry? I said, I've had instruction that I cannot speak to any of the BBC. I said, but you're quite lucky, actually, because then I got a further instruction saying I can. So we'll go ahead. And I was on there for about 5 minutes with him on the Radio Merseyside.
Hey, I had a bit of gossip with the BBC. And she didn't know, this woman. She didn't know, because she goes swimming in the sea and also in the fresh water, if you can think of any fresh water in the Northwest. Yeah. But anyway, I said, do you really go swimming in those waters? She said, yeah. She said, we're into it. There's a big group of us that do it. And I said, with all that effluent. And she went, I said, has anybody ever got ill? And she went, and I just went, did you know that there was a high court action against United Utilities, which now enables people to take legal actions against them if they get ill? And she went, that's interesting. And I went, I'll leave you with that.
Now she's in the sports village doing Lent.
and the Sky guy, he was really nice. He was a young fella. And he said, this is his first election. And I went, really? And I said, aren't you disgusted with all these people? I said, they're all voting Labour. I said, you should be disgusted. Go on.
Speaking of Labour, quick little gloat. Hang on a minute. Galloway first.
Oh,
that was
God,
immense. He lasted about 5 minutes, didn't he?
5 minutes. Gone.
Thank God.
See you
Thank
later.
God.
Yeah, but I'm going to have a little gloat because Jonathan Ashworth, that's hilarious.
Lovely.
You know what? It would have been hilarious if it hadn't been to a pro-Palestine candidate. Now, you also had a few of them in Blackburn, Dewsbury and Batley. Yeah, with the teacher.
Yeah.
Remember that one? That was Rachel Reeves' advisor who got beat. And then Birmingham, Perry Barr. Now, I know we discussed all these Palestine candidates, the Muslim vote stuff, didn't we, in local elections, and kind of dismissed them a bit because they won't get nothing done at a local level.
Got
for
4 of them
Palestine,
out
mate.
now, haven't they? They got 4 MPs.
Well, this is the thing. At a national level, this is quite dangerous now. I don't think they're going to get anything done for Palestine, but it's this entryism that we discussed, remember, when we discussed the extremism definition. Now, the problem is they're going to be working for their religion, aren't they? Not for our constitution and monarchy or our culture and values.
Absolutely.
So we know how this is going to pan out. We just watch and look at what the Muslim Brotherhood have done over the years.
What's a Muslim?
Muslim Brotherhood.
Is that somebody with a Muslim with a speech defect? I'm a Muslim.
Yeah. I mean, to me, this is a massive no-no, and it totally goes against, let's say, our constitution, what's left of it after they've trashed it over the years. So I think this is probably one of the biggest threats. But again, everything, like the SNP, everything's been overshadowed by the collapse of the Conservatives, but there's a lot of other stuff going on as well, which is good, so we can close, but other stuff, a bit worrying.
Never quite realised how bad it was for the Conservatives. I mean, it was like a bunker, in a war that that you're losing.
Isn't it the worst defeat since like the 1800s or something?
Oh, God, it's massive. And he was handing out awards to people. And the biggest thing that I like is that the former head of UK music, Jamie Njuku Goodwin, has lost a job. I hated that guy. And man, when he was the head of UK music, he didn't do any good. Well, hey, Jamie, if you need a reference, don't come to me, kiddo.
Look it up, Buttercup.
Yeah, that's right. Out of a job, why would anybody employ you? You're a loser. Yeah. Capital L, baby. Go ahead, Gazelle.
I mean, that's I've got 2 things really, but
2? You're turning into the Raven.
Yeah, I'm surprised there that you said that this is first time it's happened since 1900, something like that. And I couldn't quite get my head around the fact that with Queen Victoria voting Labour, I think that's a bit of a fiddle.
She didn't vote Labour.
It was one of the.
She had a very tumultuous relationship with her Prime Minister, but she didn't vote Labour.
She voted Labour, I've seen
it. She what?
Labour
wasn't about
Queen Victoria. I told you it was a fiddle. And that Jonathan Ashworth, right, it'll be a matter of, I would say, months. I would say 2 to 3 months before Starmer sacks somebody. And, look, we end up with a by-election. And look who's standing.
Oh, aye.
Yeah.
They're absolutely bent. There's bent as 9 bob notes, a lot of them.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, just mark it.
Okay.
3 months, I say, and Ashworth will be back in.
Go ahead, Dakota.
Does anybody know if that Conservative woman MP that defected about 6 weeks ago over to Labour, did she win a seat or is she out as well? I can't remember.
I can't. Good point.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember that. No. I don't remember what happened. That would be interesting to note. Statsman.
6 months ago. 6 weeks ago. Did she win her seat?
I'm slacking.
No, when she actually defected, she said she's not standing for Parliament.
I think that's right, actually, yeah, because there was...
Right.
No, even though she defected, Graham, it was about 3 or 4 weeks before the election, she said, I'm not standing for Parliament.
Oh, she stood down?
She stood down, yeah. She wasn't standing at the election, so I don't think find her in there.
I don't think there was a seat for her, and obviously she wasn't standing for the Conservatives. They weren't going to have that.
I mean, it was just a pointless task, wasn't it? I mean, why do that? Why move over 3 weeks before?
Why not just resign as an MP? Just say, I've had enough of this, instead of going over to Flab saying, I'm defecting to Labour and getting marched across the House of Commons and all that nonsense.
Just a woman's logic, wasn't it? I don't know.
What do you mean? That's very sexist, you misogynist, you.
I don't care anymore. The election's over. Stuff it. Can say what I want.
You could be in 5 years' time. In fact, they might put you in at the Welsh elections in 2000. When's the Welsh elections? Or is it the Scottish ones? 2026?
Scottish ones, 2 years' time.
2 years' time. Well, I know that the Welsh elections are going to be coming up as well. And I think if I were... Coming up. If I were Reform, I would be targeting some of these devolved administrations. But anyway, go ahead, Stats.
Andrea Jenkins, she even tried to put Nigel Farage on air flyers and still lost. After they were desperate, weren't they?
I liked her. I liked her. I thought she was okay. What about Miriam Cates?
I had Nigel Farage on my flyers. You won't be going on again, Tosser.
No, yeah. they get you. They get you into the Sunday papers, and they get you a bad reputation. Without a shadow of a doubt.